Welcome to Tiny Home Blueprints. Tiny home or cabin, which one is the better choice? Let's find out. Everyone selling you a tiny home wants you to believe cabins are outdated.
Welcome to my brand
Everyone
new
selling
tiny
you a
home.
cabin
It is
wants you to
small,
believe tiny
but it is
homes
perfect.
are fat
I
on
absolutely
wheels.
love it.
Neither one is telling you the truth. One of these structures can leave you completely locked out of a mortgage. The other one can quietly cost you 3 times more than the sticker price once the land bill shows up. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which one actually fits your life, and which one the influencers conveniently leave out of their dream small home videos. Before we get into it, if you've ever caught yourself scrolling tiny home listings at 1 a.m. wondering if this is actually realistic for you, hit subscribe. This channel exists to give you the numbers nobody else will. No aspirational fluff, just what things actually cost. Now let's break this down. Tiny homes and cabins get lumped together constantly. Small footprint, simple living, escape the mortgage, sounds the same on paper. It is not the same thing. A cabin is a traditional structure built on land you own, usually with conventional lumber and simple methods. A tiny home is a modern, code-built residence, sometimes on a foundation, sometimes on a trailer. And that one distinction, wheels or foundation, changes almost everything about financing, taxes, and long-term value. We're going through cost, land, financing, energy, durability, and resale. Stick around for that last one, because it's the category that quietly determines whether either of these is actually a good financial decision or just a really nice-looking mistake. Start with the number everyone wants first. A tiny home in 2026 typically runs $30,000 to $150,000, with high-end custom builds pushing past $180,000. Per square foot, you're looking at $200 to $450 nationally. And that's not a typo. Tiny homes often cost more per square foot than a regular house because you're cramming full kitchen, bathroom, and utility systems into a fraction of the space. Cabins split into categories that matter a lot. A dry cabin, no plumbing, seasonal use, can be genuinely cheap. A full-time, code-compliant small cabin house with foundation, septic, and permitted electrical is a different animal entirely. Off-grid cabins on land you already own start around $50,000 to $80,000. And here's the part nobody puts in the headline. A small cabin can cost more per square foot than a larger house because a bathroom, kitchen, foundation, and septic system cost the same whether the structure is 400 square feet or 1,200. So on sticker price alone, these two are closer than the marketing suggests. The real gap opens up in the next 3 categories. Cabins require you to buy land first. That's not optional, and depending on your state, land costs can dwarf the structure itself. Tiny homes have one genuine advantage here. If yours is on wheels, it can sit on family land or rented land, which means you can technically skip the land purchase entirely, at least short-term. But that flexibility has a cost. Tiny homes on wheels frequently get classified as recreational vehicles. Some counties ban RVs as a primary residence outright. Full stop. No exceptions. Tiny homes on permanent foundations have to meet full residential building codes. The same codes a normal house follows, which pushes permit costs up. The workaround a lot of buyers don't know about. Tiny homes qualify as accessory dwelling units, or ADUs, in many jurisdictions, which opens legal placement in suburban and rural zones where a standalone cabin might not even be allowed. Cabins avoid the RV classification problem entirely, but they don't avoid zoning. You still need county approval for a permanent structure, septic, and driveway access. And remote cabin sites often need a gravel driveway, culvert, and drainage work just to get a delivery truck onto the property. That's a bill that shows up after you've already committed. Bottom line, research your specific county before you buy either one, not after. This is the single most common way people blow their budget in this category. This is the section that actually separates these two structures, and it rarely gets airtime. Tiny homes on wheels are not classified as real estate. That means traditional mortgages do not apply to them. You're looking at personal loans, RV loans, or specialty tiny home lenders, generally shorter terms and higher interest rates than a mortgage. A tiny home on a permanent foundation is a different story. It can qualify for standard financing because it's treated as real property. Cabins built on owned land with a permanent foundation qualify for traditional mortgages and construction loans, same as any conventional home. That's a meaningful advantage if you're financing rather than paying cash, because mortgage rates are almost always going to beat a personal loan or RV loan rate. For context on what you're comparing this to, the median U.S. home price closed out 2025 north of $400,000. That's exactly why both of these categories exist, but cheaper than a $400,000 house and easy to finance are two completely different claims, and a lot of tiny home content blurs them together on purpose. If you're going off-grid, this is the category where the size difference actually pays for itself. According to Department of Energy data, a well-insulated tiny house uses 60 to 80% less energy per square foot than a standard home. Less space to heat and cool means smaller solar arrays and smaller battery banks. A 200 square foot tiny house typically needs just 1,500 to 2,500 watts of solar for full-time off-grid living, installed for roughly $4,000 to $8,000. Cabins need more. A comparable off-grid cabin system runs $8,000 to $15,000. But cabins have a real counter-advantage: more roof space. A 24 by 24 foot cabin has about 576 square feet of roof, enough for 3,000 to 4,000 watts of solar, which generates serious surplus power in most climates. Cabins can also run wood stoves for heat without the tight clearance issues a tiny home's small interior creates. So, smaller upfront system cost favors the tiny home. More power headroom and simpler heating favor the cabin. Neither one is a clean win. Here's the one almost nobody puts in a comparison video, and it's arguably the most important number in this entire script. Cabins built on permanent foundations, with proper roof and foundation maintenance, last 50 to 100 years or more. Tiny homes on permanent foundations, built with the same residential techniques as a regular house, get similar numbers, 50 to 100 years with maintenance. But tiny homes on wheels do not get that lifespan. Road vibration, weight stress, and constant exposure while towing shorten the structure's life significantly. Most tiny houses on wheels last 30 to 50 years with regular maintenance, better than an RV, but nowhere close to a foundation-built structure of either type. If long-term durability matters to you, the foundation is the deciding variable, not whether you call it a tiny home or a cabin. If you want off-grid efficiency, lower upfront solar costs, and the ability to place a structure without buying land first, a tiny home on wheels gets you there fastest. But you're accepting RV loan financing, shorter structural lifespan, and real zoning risk depending on your county. If you want traditional mortgage access, higher long-term durability, and more solar headroom, a foundation-built cabin or a foundation-built tiny home both get you there. But you're buying land first, and that bill can quietly exceed the structure cost itself. The honest answer, tiny home versus cabin, is the wrong framing. The real dividing line is wheels versus foundation. That single choice determines your financing, your lifespan, your zoning options, and your resale position more than the label on the listing ever will. And that resale position is exactly where this gets uncomfortable. Because in the next episode of Tiny Home Secrets They Don't Tell, we're breaking down why tiny homes lose value faster than you think, including the depreciation curve nobody shows you before you sign the loan. If today's number surprised you, that one is going to hit harder. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and I'll see you in the next one.